Hey everybody, it's your old friend Gary Lucas, and welcome to the day before the inauguration, January 19th, 2021. And I'm here, as always, in the West Village of New York during this pandemic. It's kind of brisk out and breezy and a little bit ominous sky, but the sun is due to break through pretty soon, and I billed this as the Throw the Rascals Out party. You can continue to carry on as you will, and I hope to entertain you. I don't really know what's going to happen next, other than Joe Biden will be inaugurated tomorrow, which is, to me, wonderful news, and Kamala Harris. And as for Trump, we'll see what he's up to after he so gracefully exits the White House with his ceremony in an aircraft hangar, I think it is, tomorrow, with many invited guests who apparently are not RSVPing him, but Well, anyway, I'm feeling pretty good, although who knows what mischief can befall us in the next day and a half or so or afterwards. But as I mentioned before, please, everybody, keep your lamps trimmed and burning. Everybody should be extra vigilant, not only vis-a-vis your own safety by wearing a mask, highly advised. Most people seem to be doing it these days in the West Village, but I know there have been a lot of hotspots and outbreaks from people who are just fed up with the routine. And, I've suffered enough wearing this mask. I think this is a highly risky maneuver and not advisable for anybody, depending how fed up you are or not. I think that the collective security of your fellow human beings on this planet should be paramount in everybody's mind. And yes, vis-a-vis nationalism and whatnot, it's fine to fly the flag, although I have to say I thought that Donald Trump Jr.'s flag jacket was about the tackiest thing I've ever seen. I posted a little Twitter clip of him and his girlfriend Kimberly, I think her name is, trumpeting that the best was yet to come. The best what? I don't know. I don't think he's really presidential timber myself, if that's what he's referring to, or that the influence of the Trump crime family is going to be as pervasive as they suspect. But then I don't know, I heard a statistic yesterday that 35% of Americans still believe that the election was fixed, which to me is a staggering amount of people. But then again, my friend Francis McCarthy said, well, it's still 65%, which is a lot of people who disbelieve this notion that's been promulgated through sheer repetition. Again, it's like it is so. If you think it's so, if somebody says something enough times, it starts to appear as the truth to people. This is like a class of propaganda technique, whether it's a big lie or a little lie. And, I just kind of would keep my lamps trimmed and burning, and stay awake and vigilant. But I think actually we're heading into a much better period. I hope so. I really do. I don't think any of this can stand any more shenanigans. And then I have to remind you that, I posted this bad lip sync clip of the Trump inauguration from 4 years ago to promo my set today. And it's given me great solace and joy over the last 4 years to look at it because it is so highly ridiculous, but not so far afield of the truth of probably what people were thinking and saying on that day, based on their facial expressions. But you have to recall that besides claiming that his inaugural crowd was the largest in history, everything was always mega large, super duper, blah, blah. Donald Trump as a snake oil salesman, Carney Barker, reality show star that he was. He also, said, we're not going to suffer any American carnage. That's over. We have to, and then he painted this grotesque picture of the U.S. on fire, basically. But, let's look at the current situation with nearly 400,000 people dead in this country, including my mom, my lovely sainted mother who died of the virus in a nursing home in Riverside, California, back in the spring, and then 399,000 other people from all walks of life. I have a personal connection to it that way, but but then people again get numb to statistics after a while. But consider that 9/11, I think the victim count in the Trade Center tragedy was only about 2,500. So we're getting about double that amount every day. That's a staggering number of dead people. Not to mention the 5 people dead after, this riot was incited by you-know-who and his cohorts up at that rally on January 6th. That is clear to me. I think any fair-minded person looking at those speeches would have to agree. It was like, sick 'em, go for it. Just the rhetoric, the level of violence in the rhetoric that preceded it was certainly enough of a tipping point for me to to come down on this bunch, this crime family. So anyway, you probably all agree with me, I hope, but maybe not. In any case, I'm open for debate on any and all subjects, but let's change the subject for the moment, and I want to give thanks and praise to John Alderman. He's really a great supporter. Peter Nikolakakos. Peter Nikolakakos. Sorry for this hiccup pronouncing your name. Thank you, buddy. Mark Green. I can't thank this man enough. Every time I play, he leaves a very generous tip in the tip jar on PayPal. Andy Cherto, Papa Andy, thank you. Andy does this very cool reggae program. He's one of the foremost reggae authorities. He lived in Jamaica for a while. He has dreadlocks down below his knees. I mean, forget about John Lennon and Come Together. He's got hair down below the tips of his toes. I mean, his locks trail on the floor. I don't know how he deals with that, but I don't think it was any hair weave. Do you know what I mean? So you should listen to Papa Andy. He's on Saturday at usually I think it's 5 or 6. I precede his shows with postings. So, but you can check with his Facebook page for Papa Andy, and his real name is Andy Cherto, Chertow. He really is the guy responsible for first playing me both the Velvet Underground, the Banana album, as well as the Mothers of Invention's first double album, which might have been the first one and preceded Blonde on Blonde by Bob Dylan as a double album by a month or so. And all of these albums, at least, I think part of Blonde on Blonde as well, was produced by Tom Wilson, a black American, originally jazz producer who stepped up to the plate in the mid-'60s and got involved with all sorts of creative signings, who's not really been celebrated enough, although I know that my friend Marshall Crenshaw was working on a documentary about Tom Wilson. I'd love to see that. I don't know how far along he got with it, but he's certainly an important character. He actually produced the Soft Machines' first album as well. And my friend Mike Ratledge gave me some really funny anecdotes about that and how that got recorded. I love Soft Machine, especially the original lineup with David Allen. And then after David left, it was a trio of Mike Ratledge, maybe the finest keyboardist in England for that time, if not all time. I mean, right up there with Keith Emerson in my book, and Vincent Crane. I mean, I can think of some great ones. And then, of course, Robert Wyatt, who we all love, who tragically suffered a fall and broke his... It's really a horrible story, but it's been confined in a wheelchair all these years, but still been incredibly active and creative for the most part. And lastly, Kevin Ayers, who died a couple of years ago, who had a great career in his own right as a solo artist. Anyway, Tom Wilson was there. He recognized a good thing. And certainly when he signed the Mothers, he thought he was signing a blues band. I think he just sort of stepped into the Whiskey A Go-Go, and they were playing Trouble Coming Every Day. And he was looking for bands to sign, so he phoned the label and said, okay, I got this great white blues band. Little did he know what he was getting into, what he was bargaining for. Because Frank Zappa showed up with amazing charts and called in the forces of a small ensemble that he already, had drilled to perfection, and combined them with larger forces on the symphonic variety, or at least, mini orchestra to further flesh out the tracks that he had in mind to do, and thus the masterpiece that is Freak Out album ensued. So Andy, again, I want to thank you, because that music was a revelation to me, and the Velvet Underground's first album. I mean, the energy pouring off of the grooves of these two landmark, groundbreaking efforts, is still vibrating wildly in the air today, and their influence has been incalculable. And so I'm on the subject. Please check out pleasekillme.com. It's one word, Please Kill Me. It was actually a book of an oral history of the punk rock era, in which my friend Danny Fields, who also discovered and managed many of the movers and shakers on the punk scene, such as the Ramones, and was involved with Nico and Jim Morrison, many other people when he worked at Elektra. He looms large in that book, but they have a website which is really excellent, with all sorts of articles by all sorts of people about interesting byways of music, not necessarily mainstream music, that's for sure, as well as other significant cultural artifacts, films, books, painting, etc., etc. And I'm honored to write for them. I want to thank Gillian McCain and Alan Bisbort, the editor, for publishing my work. And I have a piece in there that went online this week about Don Van Vliet, Captain Beefheart, and Frank Zappa, which I think you might find interesting if you like these shows. So, well, anyway, nationalism. Yeah, I love, in Ulysses, my favorite all-time book by James Joyce. There's a line in there, that basically says, I'd rather have my country die for me. I don't want to die for my country. I believe Stephen Dedalus, who's one of the protagonists, says this. And it was quoted and used in a lyric by Grace Slick of the Jefferson Airplane on their After Bathing at Baxter's album, which I think is their best. It's my favorite of the Jefferson Airplane album. And a song called Rejoice. And yeah, I just want to say I am definitely a patriot. I mean, I'm from here, and I like to see, everybody in the world do well, not just our country. I mean, I'm American, but I'm also, world citizen, and I think that we have to adopt that stance to just basically get through the next few years here and everywhere, and have to pull together as one. Maybe it will take an invasion from outer space, an attack by Martians or other denizens of the universe to kind of force us to pull together, but I can't wait. So I was asked to do an album of Czech classical music by the former Czech UN ambassador Martin Paluš, and I did a concert in Washington, D.C. on the 15th anniversary of what they call the Velvet Revolution over there, which the name kind of comes from the Velvet Underground, in fact, of which Václav Havel and the Plastic People of the Universe, who were a great avant-garde rock band in the Czech Republic, all the dissidents who kind of then took over when the Russians pulled out, they were fans of the Velvet Underground. They were fans of Frank Zappa, Lou Reed, Captain Beefheart. And, anyway, so I did this record. I did a concert which became an album. It's a live album called Gary Lucas Plays Bohemian Classics. My grandfather on my father's side was from Bohemia, although it's unclear whether it was at the time he emigrated part of what became Hungary or the Czech Republic, probably the Czech Republic, but I don't know, and that's a story that for further research. I've always been curious about that, but when I play in the Czech Republic, I tell them I'm Czech, and when I play in Hungary, I'm Hungarian. No, just joking. So as part of this album, I did an arrangement of a very nationalist piece of music called Ma Vlast by the great Bedřich Smetana. And it's a tone poem about, really, the Czech Republic. And it translates Ma Vlast as my country. And in there is a beautiful depiction of the Moldau River to Moldau, which flows awfully long distance throughout Central Europe into Eastern Europe. And so you may know this, but I'll play a little bit. Yeah. Very well. There you have a medley of all sorts of stuff, and I hope it's put you in the mood. I think I'll have to play Steam's Na 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 Hey Hey Goodbye before Trump leaves tomorrow, and let's see what's going on in the neighborhood. Oh, the sun came out. All right, the sun will be out tomorrow for sure. Old Glory is flying. Dollar bills over there. And that's a quote the Rolling Stones. Citadel. There's some workmen, and I think this is Hugh Jackman's new deck they're preparing. Anyway, it's fun, as always, to play for you here in the Wild West Village. I'm Gary Lucas. Here behind me, over there is a beautiful Don Van Vliet original, The Flying Saucer, from 1967, that he was so lovely and generous to give me as a gift in lieu of hard currency. Anyway, it was a labor of love. And so is this. I love playing for you, but hey, if you do have some spare shekels, please visit the tip jar. Always appreciated. And until such time, I guess it will be Thursday. Joe Biden will be president. I'm looking forward to playing for you again, okay? Stay safe, wear that mask, and keep your lamps trimmed and burning. And I'll see you soon. Bye now.